Legend tales of a place where the booze flows freely and the stories are always entertaining. If you are bold enough to seek out such a place, head 13 miles down the Tuscan Highway to a tiny blues joint known as the Townsmith Tavern. Once there, enjoy the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and Bowl.
Excuse me, you can't say that. You're gonna lose your family-friendly rating. You're gonna corrupt the kids.
BS! A podcast that invites you to grab a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. And here are your hosts, Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast charging at you like a nihilistic 50-foot ape with a howitzer and nothing to lose. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing tonight?
What's up? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Another fantastic edition of the show. How are you doing? And did you give that ape the howitzer?
Listen, I can neither confirm nor deny how an ape gets an howitzer, but yeah, I'm doing pretty well, Kidder. I'm over the cold that had me bogged down last week, so I'm still coughing a little bit.
That's
but,
good.
The health is much better this week, so
I'm very happy to hear that because I can actually understand you this week, and so I'm sure everybody watching or listening will be in the same boat. You know, so I am happy for you. Your breathing status is at the apex of my concerns. I just want you to know that. So
makes it sound like you wake up in the middle of the night concerned that I'm not breathing.
Sometimes I do, man. I wake up in a cold sweat. I'm like, Howard! Ah! So, okay. Well, before we jump the shark, I mean, it's only been like 2 minutes. So before we get too far into this show, we have a very special guest this evening, and joining us all the way from the Twin Cities of the Minneapolis and St. Paul area, it is my good friend, the MidnightRocker101. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're doing great. You know, we're happy to have you here as well, and also very happy to, we extended the invite, and you so graciously accepted, and you're like excited about it too. So we're happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I like doing these. They're a lot of fun.
So let's first dive in to number one. Who are you? What's going on? And all of those good questions that I know most of the people watching this show aren't asking because they already know who you are. But for the two people who don't know who you are, what you're all about, now we go way back, so you take it away. Just tell us all about the Midnight Rocker.
So, MidnightRocker101, my code name go by. Real name's Tibor. I'm a streamer on the internet. I guess that's what you'd call it nowadays. Do Twitch. Started out doing gaming, and then switched to doing IRL with a gun run backpack with a camera attached to my shoulder, and go on adventures. We do cooking streams recently. We kind of just film life as it goes, which is really fun. I really enjoy it. It's a good time, to connect with people live, So
That sounds awesome. I mean, I know I've seen some of your streams going back a little ways where you've been on there. Of course, going back to last year with Cyberpunk. Is kind of when you really got into it. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I started Twitch streaming during the pandemic. Just kind of had a lot of free time, and I was like, well, this, I'd been on there a little bit, never streamed, but then kind of went full force with it. Yeah, did Cyberpunk and Battlefield, and all these different games. Looking forward to the new Battlefield, doing that one. Really, really stoked about that.
Yeah, a few episodes. Well, I suppose it's more than a few episodes ago now. I had a chance to play the open beta, just like I'm sure that you did, and we talked a little bit about that and our takeaway. But just that specifically, since we're talking about that, what's your favorite portion about the new Battlefield 2042, and maybe what you didn't like? Give us your 2 cents on Battlefield.
I don't know, the graphics. I mean, the graphics look more intense, obviously, but I didn't get to play it for a long period of time. I only got to play it for like just an hour, so I didn't get to see everything. But I watched another streamer play for a little while. Just like the combat of the guns are like more realistic, like the shooting, the coil run, and everything, and how it like knocks back. Like that's just seems more intense, like realistic, and I like that. What'd you think? Like, what'd you think about it?
So and Howard didn't get a chance to play it, so he's busy with all kinds of stuff, and I don't think brother Nico or Rude Boy Kyle got to play it either. So I think I'm the only one, and I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think my total play time might have been 4 hours on the beta, just with code issues of the pre-orders. I pre-ordered it. I didn't get my code for the first full day and had issues with it. But then once I actually got it, downloaded it, all that good stuff, played it. Kind of with the other Battlefields, I love the aesthetics. I love how it looks, the destructible environments. They're very, very immersive. So you're out there and you're walking. But that's kind of my problem with it, and how they've been in the past too, because you die, so you spawn, and now you have to go a long way to find somebody, and then everybody else is perched already and sniping, and then you get picked off, and now you got to go spawn back there, and maybe you can get into a vehicle. So, I'm really hoping that there's a few elements that they can fix. I guess, or make it a little bit more interesting to jump you in there quicker if you don't have squad mates where the action is. One of my favorite maps from Battlefield 4, going back that far, was the locker, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. And most of it's underground, and the whole reason that I enjoyed that is because it's big enough for the 48 players or however many there were, but it's small enough so that you don't have to waste 5 minutes running across the map just to find somebody and then get picked off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you waste all that time going there, and then you get like 2 minutes of combat, or not even. That's like my thing.
Your pet peeve on it too. Yeah. And speaking from you'll have to go back and watch the episode if you haven't watched it already, but Howard shared a video from Battlefield 5, and he has the same sort of issues, don't you, Howard?
I do, although my tolerance gets a little low, so then I start goofing around in games, and that always leads to interesting things. But yeah, we shared a video where I took a Jeep where it wasn't supposed to go, and got to pull a really nice John Wick move as the Jeep rolled as I hopped out, and there was a guy right there, and I shot him. And then I immediately got sniped and had to start over. But for just that like few seconds, I was cool, and that's but
it's pretty much an epic video. I mean, if you go back and watch that episode, for anybody who hasn't seen that episode yet, sharing the clip, he's just screwing around, and then all of a sudden the vehicle's flying through the air, and then he's standing. There's a dude, and he kills him. If he could have in the game, he's holding this assault rifle of some kind. I don't remember which rifle you had, but blah blah blah. You should have gone, because it was pretty much the coolest move. Yeah, it should have been an achievement. That was achievement worthy gameplay right there.
Yeah, but I should look to see. I don't know if I have it recorded, but there's also another one, Kidder, where Rude Boy Kyle made the mistake of hopping in a vehicle with me once.
Classic.
And it ended about not quite as cool at the end, but I think he, for a bit, was like, Howard, where are you going? Where are you going? The fight's over there. It's like, we'll get there. We'll get there.
There's like 30 minutes left in the match. We'll get there eventually. It's fine. It's fine. So obviously you like doing the Twitch streaming, and so not only on Twitch, and we have your address at the bottom here, but where else do you stream? What else goes on? What do you do? How do you share all of your content that you're producing?
So we start with Twitch. Instagram's a big one that I do. I'm pretty much on everything. Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. I haven't really dipped into the whole TikTok thing. Still trying to. I'm not a good dancer, or I maybe think I am, after a few drinks at a wedding, but it's something I gotta. Even people have said like you got to get more clips on there of like your gameplay and stuff, and I don't have anybody doing, because I do all my editing by myself, and stuff. So I need to figure out more how to do the editing for TikTok and such. That's where
I couldn't. I mean, I can't really give you any good tips for TikTok other than keep it short, and the dumber the better, I think, because then you get more views for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't ventured into the TikTok realm either, but I mean, we're pretty much everywhere, so you're not alone. Don't worry.
We can do it together. You guys can help me.
That's all we need is the three of us TikToking. Like,
I don't think we could ever pull it off, Kidder. Our average episode is an hour and 45 minutes. No way we're pulling off a TikTok.
And then
we'll have. Oh, go ahead.
3 minutes now. You can make 3-minute videos. That's what my girlfriend was
sure.
saying. And I was like, oh,
I believe you.
When I started, I think it was like 10, 15 seconds or something.
That sounds about right. I know it was super, super short on the video end. We might have to make one of those lifeline requests to Rude Boy Kyle and Brother Nico, because I know at least Brother Nico has some experience with the old TikTok, watching the videos on TikTok, and he's scroll like, that's funny, that's funny, that's funny, and then 3 hours have gone by. So apparently that's a thing. So well, before we get into how you and I know each other from a long time ago, let's do a little what's on tap. On this show we do what are we drinking for the night, what's about it, what's beverage it is, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, that sort of thing. So just a quick little preview of how we do it tonight. I brought in, yes, it is a can of blue. We'll see how this goes, but it is called the Blueberry from Wasatch Brewery. It is a Hefeweizen. Now apparently, yes, this one's for you, Howard. I see your damn smirk on your face.
I'm laughing, Kidder, because that's the same company that made both of the pumpkin spice beers that I drank, and if you recall, those nearly killed me. So
correct. So this
luck.
should be good.
The color of a can, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's blue. It's
like
berries. Apparently, it's beer fermented with natural blueberry flavoring. So they can't even put real blueberries in the damn thing. So we'll see. It has 9 IBUs. It's a 4.8% alcohol by volume. The can claims that it tastes like malt, fruit, and smooth. I don't know how it can taste like smooth. I mean, I can understand if it tastes smooth, but not taste like smooth. But this aromatic fruit beer is ripe for the picking. Juicy blueberry meets in a malted wheat for a light, earthy, and balanced take on a fruit wheat Hefeweizen. So this is made out of Salt Lake City, Utah. They were established in 1986. You'd think for the 35 years they've been around that they would know how to make a decent beer, but we'll see. We drink our share and sell the rest. 12 full fluid ounces of unfiltered beer. It actually has an at the bottom. And I know the camera probably does not want to focus on it, which is probably okay. But yeah, there you go with the So we'll give it a shot. And again, Howard, those beers you said were the mystery van or something, and then a pumpkin one.
No, it was a pumpkin ale was the first one, and then the other one was called Black O-Lantern.
Yes.
Oh, crazy.
All right. So yes, it kind of smells like the malt, as it said, and a little hint of blueberry, kind of like a popsicle blueberry. So here we go. Cheers, gents. Well, I didn't completely fall over. I don't know why I'm tasting chocolate. There's no chocolate in this. It's supposed to be blueberry and malt. So maybe the combination is that bad.
I had a blueberry one just a few weeks ago at the arcade, and it was a cider blueberry, and it kind of had that chocolate taste, like what you were saying. It kind of threw me off because it was dark, but it was purple, but it was a blueberry, they said. It was all
It's
right.
just bizarre.
Yeah. Wasn't my favorite, but it was, something to try.
Was it the blue from Grain Belt?
I think it was like a local beer. It's like I didn't ask like where it was from or anything. But
it's all right, especially if it's better probably, especially if it wasn't that good. Then it was some other crap beer, so it's fine.
Because I said to him, I was like, just give me something new. They're like, oh, here.
Try that out. Yeah. Well, sorry it wasn't the best. I mean, this one. I mean, I'll give it 2 for drinkability.
2?
I didn't have a pregame before this, but I might have to have something after it. I don't know. What about you, Tate? What do you got over there?
I am drinking Wilder's cider. Let's see, where is this from? Natural, gluten-free, 5% alcohol volume. An exotic duet, combining the juice of prickly pear and pineapple. Oh, where's this from? Vermont? I think. It's bottled in Vermont, so.
It's hard to say. Some beers have a lot of information on their labels, and some tell you absolutely nothing. So
Yeah, it doesn't say. It just all it says is just bottled by Vermont Cider Company. It doesn't say the brewery or anything.
Does it at least taste better than their labeling?
Oh, this is one of my favorite ciders that I like to drink. Very good.
And you said it has pineapple and pear, so I mean, is it very obviously probably citrusy, but does it have real heavy overtones of one or the other, or do they blend well?
It blends real good. Yeah, it's not too peary, it's not too pineapple. It's just kind of a nice 50-50 blend together, and just leaves like it's not too it's not sour, it's just right. I don't know how to describe it, but it just leaves you in a very good kind of pineapple-y feeling.
I like it. Leaves you in a good pineapple-y place.
Yeah.
The other one, if you like pineapple and cider, it's the Ace Pineapple. If you've seen those or have tried those, the Ace series are very, very tasty, and on top of it, They're made in, I want to say, Eastern California, or maybe very southern and Eastern California. But you get some Ace pineapple, and it's almost like drinking a slice of pineapple that's been, blended up and filtered and put in a bottle with alcohol. It's so delicious.
I'm gonna have to. What was that name of it?
Ace pineapple, and you'll know it. They also have apple and pear and a couple other flavors, but you'll know it because their logo has 3 playing cards, or at least 2 playing cards on the bottle.
You know what's funny? We went to the liquor store last night, and I just seen that, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, what is this? It had cards on it, because we were in the cider aisle. So I know what you're talking about, just haven't had it, but now that you say that, I'm going to check it out. It looks
You should. I mean, yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're super delicious too. So I know you're really going to enjoy it once you track down a 6-pack of those bottles. So, what do you give your beverage on a rating?
Out of a 10, or are we doing, or out of a 5?
0 to 5 stars, 0 to 10 stars, 0 to 100, however starry you're feeling.
I will, out of 1 out of 10, I would probably do like a 9.5 on this one. It's just it's that wonderful. I mean, I drink a lot of ciders, and that's kind of what I, go with all the time. And we go to different, tap houses and breweries around here and tried many, but this one is just got that beautiful blend that my taste buds like. But I love pineapple though, so I'm a big pineapple person. Don't even on pizza, yes.
Even on pizza, he threw it. He threw down the gauntlet. Yeah.
Probably get unfollowed a lot for saying that, I'm sure. But.
Probably not. I mean, we're pretty inclusive here. If you want pineapple on your pizza, you go ahead and enjoy it. I'll tolerate it a little bit. And in fact, one of the pizzas that I was introduced to that's really good is you got pineapple, but then you have pepperoni and jalapenos.
Oh,
just the 3 flavor combination with your cheese and your marinara tomato sauce, whatever you put on it. Nice and tasty for that tropical yet spicy blend.
It sounds good. I'm not even picky. I could eat any kind of pizza possible. Throw me a pizza down. It don't matter what it is.
Anchovies? Yeah,
I would do it. Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't ever say that I've had a pizza with anchovies on it. So, we Howard and I have tried some interesting pizzas up at Mike's Pizza in Grand Forks, or East Grand Forks, but anchovies was never a topping on any of the pizzas that we got.
I remember when I was in Las Vegas one time. They had one where it had Cheetos on it. That was kind of the craziest thing I've seen.
That'd be pretty good. Now, were they the regular, straight up crunchy Cheetos, or were they the flaming hot Cheetos?
They were the flaming hot Cheetos. I didn't try it. I just actually had seen somebody sitting at the table, and it looked cool. It kind of looked different, but looked cool. And I bet you it would be pretty decent,
Well, next time we all go to Vegas, we'll find that place again, and we'll try some flaming hot Cheetos on a pizza. Let's make it happen. So, Howard, what do you got on tap tonight? You got something tasty, something exotic? You going all out?
I'm still recovering after those 2 pumpkin beers and then the bat squatch I had and such. So I decided to go with my favorite type of beer, which is a Scotch ale. And Kidder, I actually found one named after me. That's right. I got a Founder's Dirty Bastard here. So your favorite nickname for me. So
one of them, yeah.
So found this. It's out of the Founder's Brewery out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. 8.5% alcohol by volume, 50 IBUs. The description on the back says here, so good it's almost wrong. Dark ruby in color and brewed with 7 varieties of imported malts. Complex and finish with hints of smoke and peat. Paired with a malty richness and a right hook of hop power to give it the bad attitude that a beer named Dirty Bastard has to live up to. Ain't for the wee lads. So
it sounds pretty dirty, just like you. He's got all that peat moss and whatever in there. What does it smell like?
Not too much of a distinct smell. So take that for what it is. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Definitely.
Of course, you would like it.
Well, of course. I do enjoy, as I said, a good Scotch ale, and yeah, this is not bad. I'm gonna have a nice time instead of kind of what I've had the last few episodes to try and struggle through. So, yeah,
good. I'm happy for you. You deserve a break from crappy beer.
I do. So, that's okay. I'll probably go back to those ways next time. So, it's
still with. I don't want to call this a crappy beer. I mean, it's just kind of a forgetful beer. But halfway through, I still can't taste the blueberry. I don't know. It's pretty weak.
What does it taste like?
Just tastes like if you mixed like Budweiser and Bud Light, or Coors and Coors Light, your regular and your light beer basically, and threw a single blueberry in and swirled it around. But not in a good way. Like here, taste this blueberry. It's like not as bad as the seltzers, but halfway. I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Are you guys fans of those seltzers at all? Do you guys? I can't do them. I just can't.
I'll put it this way.
One nearly killed me.
Well, I was going to say, we once had a bet, and we did a poll of our audience of what was the better sci-fi series, and Kidder's fandom cheated, and I ended up having to drink a Natty Light seltzer. And that was pretty miserable, but
I
that
don't
was
know
our
about
punishment.
Cheated. Come on. The poll was Star Wars versus Star Trek. And he's a huge Star Wars fan, but I'm a huge Star Trek fan. And this happened to be at the time when I went down to the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas. And it just so happened that there must have been people at the convention seeing this, because there's a whole bunch of people who voted for Star Trek and less voted for Star Wars. So Howard got the distinct honor to drink that Natty Light seltzer. I believe it was raspberry?
Mango.
Oh, mango.
Mango. That was quite the punishment, but I took it. I drank it.
Cool.
I survived. So
That sounds like a bad time right there.
It was the fastest drink I've seen him actually down in probably 20 years.
yeah, probably.
Since the first time that we had a drink together. The fastest drink that he drank. It was just ridiculous. But and then you go back before that, as we like to try out random beers and different types of products available, just to share our topic, or make it a topic, share our ideas on these things. I tried one willingly, and that's kind of where it came in, that of the cherry lime version of the Natty Light seltzer. And it nearly killed me, that episode. Yeah, exactly. It was horrible. I took 2 sips out of it. I couldn't recover the rest of it. I think I drank the rest of it, but it was bad. Now that we've shared that, and of course, those episodes are in the Beer Blues BS archive, so you can go back a few and check those out. Beer Blues BS MidnightRocker101.com and laugh hysterically at me nearly choking to death on a Natty Light seltzer. So the Midnight Rocker, as it were, like I was saying, we go way back. I mean, almost 10 years ago now. What were you doing back in the day? What are your roots?
Well, used to be a musician at the time. I think, when I met you, I believe. And you were rocking as the DJ on the station for a few years, and I know you played our single one time from when we made a record, which is really cool. And we're like, oh my god, this is amazing, It's like Mark was, the man. You were even voted like something in the whole country, right? Like rock DJ. How did that go?
So the ratings for Arbitron, that's the company that does radio ratings in the US, and my ratings were the highest per capita for the active rock genre for the 3 to 7 time period in the country for 2.5 years, which means that my ratings in Bismarck, North Dakota beat out New York City, Los Angeles, everywhere in between. And, part of it is playing music like what you were involved in back in the day, getting those singles out on the air for people to actually hear them from the area, but also talking with those other bands coming through who are part of the national touring, like Saul. We had those guys on already a couple months ago. Another Lost Year from North Carolina, just to name a couple, but also having those interviews with Sully Erner of Godsmack, Taylor Connolly of Theory of a Dead Man, even got to interview Jeff Dunham, of course, really? of his comedy specials. I talked to that fool for over an hour. It was hilarious talking to him. It was right before he came to town to do a show at the then Civic Center. Paul Tuttle Sr., there's so many different people we talked, even hanging out with Buck Cherry when they came to town, had sushi, and talked to Josh Todd about all of his various hobbies, including his go-karts, the adult go-karts that he has that can go around 100 miles per hour, different things. But not making it about me, because you're on the show, you're our guest. Yeah, we used to have a lot of fun, and that's part of the reason why Howard and I wanted to get together on this thing, to now get it back out to the masses once again behind the old microphone and sharing the cool stuff with the people. And that's why I'm so honored for you to join us here on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a great time. I like doing podcasts and such like that.
Now, what you were telling me is that you have quite a few people who not only join you on the streams, but you have the various followers and whatnot. What's you said interacting with people is something that you really enjoy. What's a couple of the favorite moments that you've had since you started up playing on Twitch and then streaming and getting more involved and becoming more of an influencer?
I would say going to different cons, and I always have to get permission to film at these places, because sometimes when they do when you go to these cons and they have celebrity stuff or like celebrity panels, then they're like, you can't record, but I went to 2D Con, which is a gaming and cosplay convention just a few months ago, and they were totally like, yes, you can stream the whole thing, just don't stream like inside the or they have like little meeting things and such, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, but I got to film most of it, and it was fantastic, because which all about gaming, and met so many different other like cosplayers, gamers, people just that do everything, in the pop culture from gaming. So it was fantastic just to like reach out to other people to see what they do, what they like, and hopefully, group together and do some, co-streams of something, somewhere along the way, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I know that's one of the newer things is the co-streaming on Twitch specifically, which is kind of cool. I'm almost at the ability to do that on the KRDN Twitch stream, which, sharing our local weather 24 hours a day. So it's not really engaging. It's just more of a way to stare at the radar whenever you want. And it's free. So there's that. But of course you can subscribe to it if you want to. You're not going to get spammed with a whole bunch of random stuff. So nothing too crazy there. Did you get to meet up with some of the other people you've been, watching on Twitch at some of these conventions that you've been to?
At the time I didn't know. Like I knew a few, so I met like a couple, but now that I've met more people when I went to that convention, now it's nice because we support each other. We dip into each other's streams and support each other. Give you that view is what they call it. Give you that little chat or whatever. But planning on going to TwitchCon too, so that will be even more fun. Next November, I think they're having it again. They haven't had it for 2 years, but that will be really fun because they'll be like seeing all the major people, streamers,
Awesome. Well, I know by then you're going to be in the top echelon of Twitch, so don't forget about us little guys sitting out here in the YouTube land doing our little thing Friday nights. But yeah,
you guys been rocking it good.
We try to. Every once in a while we talk about music as well. So I just want to throw that out there. Speaking of music, and you being heavily involved in music, as we talked about a little bit ago, what music are you listening to these days? You have some favorite bands, obviously, and there's now again some new music coming out. So you got a couple favorites you heard recently, or new bands maybe you've discovered?
What is that band called? Are they called Dirty Honey? Is that what they're called?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I've been really jamming to like I've been getting into the kind of the blue, like what is it, blues kind of southern rock type of vibe. So I've been digging on them and stuff.
So I suppose you kind of have a Greta Van Fleet feel as well that you might like to listen to every once in a while if you've heard of those guys. Yeah,
and I've really turned my dad is 70 or going to be 70, and I've really got him onto those guys too. And he's like, "Oh man, it's just like Zeppelin, like fantastic."
I've heard a lot of people make that connection, I guess it were, and I'm sure that that's what they're trying to do is make it so they sound a little bit more like the Led Zeppelin. But if you can make it work and you can make some money off of it, fantastic. As a Southern style hard hitting rock, even though they're from Canada, the band Monster Truck, if you've heard of those guys.
Yeah. Yep. I've heard of them. Definitely.
Those guys kick ass. I get to hang out with them, and I think three shows they were here 3 times, so we get to hang out with those guys 3 times. They go up there on stage and they're completely dry, clean, proper flannel, and by the time they're done with like the 4th song, they're just drenched because they go up there and they just kick ass on stage. So Monster Truck, them guys, yeah. It's just crazy.
They got good music though.
Sorry, I went a little Hetfield. I apologize. The Metallica flows through me. Howard's like, yeah, it's just normal.
I know they put like a secret show. I was watching Trivium last night on their Twitch channel, and they were playing with Metallica last night. They did a intimate show. Did you hear about that?
I've heard about a couple of these intimate secret Metallica shows that have been going on recently as well. There was one in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and so where did they pop up last night?
I think it was Hollywood, Florida, or somewhere. Or
Very random.
somewhere down there. I know. I think it was because the Matt Heffy, the singer, is from Florida, from the area. And I think, I don't know, they had that connection or something, but it was cool watching it on Twitch. Like, it was kind of from the side if you were standing like on the side of the stage, but it's still really neat how they did that.
And obviously you've probably been at side stage for some of the concerts. I know that for me personally, I've been able to view, I don't know, countless concerts at side stage, so it's a very interesting perspective of the side of watching the show, because you're not behind the performance and you're not in front of the performance either. So it's very, very interesting, and it's almost an intimate just way to watch them. Wouldn't you agree?
It is. It's cool because it's like a view. It's like a view you don't get to see even like on YouTube. I really haven't seen any videos where it's like side stage, excuse me. But yeah, like you said, it's more intimate. It's just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, it's just it's raw and rare, like you're there, like you're feeling the energy that they're feeling, like up there looking down at the people. That's how
I would say that it's even going the next step too of even if you're there, it's almost like you're watching it from a recorded perspective, but you're there experiencing it. It's super, super bizarre, no matter if there's 20 people or 2,000 people.
And it's you can feel like the heat from the lights, and like if you're standing next to the bass amp or the guitar amp, you just hear it's not mixed, it's just raw and rare right up there. Like you just hear the guitar, the bass, and the drums clashing, and it sounds so different, from when it comes out of the speakers, but it's awesome.
Do you ever miss doing a lot of that on stage? Whether it's playing or singing or just watching from the side, watching other groups that close. Do you miss some of that?
I haven't played I haven't been in a band in I think 8 years or something, or 7 years. Oh
man,
it's been a long time since I played. And like when I got friends here that are in local bands and stuff like that, and I go out and go to different venues and small little clubs and stuff and watch it. And I do miss it sometimes, but I'm more happy for them, because they're a lot better than I was, and I like doing what I'm doing now. But yeah, I do miss it though. But
don't sell yourself short. You were kick-ass at it too, so just don't forget that you were good at it too. And you talking about local bands. One of the Minneapolis area bands, 3 Pill Morning, just dropped a new single this week, which is now available on Spotify and their website and a bunch of different places. But listen to it tonight before the show, and it is a hell of a tune. So if you get a chance, check that brand new song out from the band 3 Pill Morning. And of course, can't remember the exact title off the top of my head, so you just give me 2 seconds and I'll have it for you so that you can. But if you search 3 Pill Morning over on Spotify or whatever your other music services, then of course you're going to find it, right? So there's that. The brand new song is entitled Dichotomy, with a parenthesized subtitle, Tear Me in Two. So check that out. plus the cover art for the single / album was made by another Minneapolis area band. Ryan Boster is Bossart is the graphic designer for that one, and those gents down there did a little thing there with their graphic design and lending 3 Pill Morning that sweet look there. So
I have not,
just
like,
a couple things.
I know they're very popular here, but I have not. I don't think I've seen them live yet. I'm pretty sure I haven't.
They are awesome live. Yeah, you got to get down there if you know that they're playing. Go check them out wherever they are, and I think they play somewhat frequently around the metro area. So if you get a chance, go check them out, and tell them Kidder sent you. Damn it!
I'll do that definitely.
How about the last concert that you've attended? What I know it's probably been a while, but live music. When were you last into it?
Oh, let's see. Last live concert. What did I go to? I went to a friend's concert, but for big band, I think it was. Don't quote me, but I think it was Deep Purple. I think that was the last concert I was at. I believe.
And Howard, what's the last concert you've been to?
Man, last concert I went to was with my wife, and it was a present to her. She had just finished nursing school, and so we were celebrating. So we went to see one of her favorite groups of all time, which was Pentatonics, when they were playing in Fargo. So that's the last concert I was at.
And the last show that we went to, probably Korn, Rob Zombie.
Oh, with the two of us?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Was that the one where you were on stage introducing the band?
Yep. That was back in 2013, just a couple years ago.
I remember seeing the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was there mostly as the Sherpa for the radio station. I had a backpack full of shirts that they were going to throw off the stage after they introduced or in between the bands. So, yeah. I got to be on stage just mostly to turn around so they could just grab shirts out of the backpack and fling them off the stage. That was it. So.
Are you guys going to any concerts in the future at all? You got anything planned?
You know, I would love to get to more shows. There's a list of Metallica shows that I want to see. In fact, February, I want to say it's in the first week of February. Metallica plays Minneapolis and they play Denver, and then there's another show in Las Vegas. So there's 3 shows, trying to get to at least one of those shows. They're supposed to be playing with Volbeat and who's the other band? Greta Van Fleet's on one of them or 2 of them, I think.
That's a stacked lineup right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's hot lineup.
Mm-hmm. And man, I think Metallica and Volbeat Metallica's at my number 1 for how many times I've seen any band in concert. And then I think number 2 has to be Volbeat now, because they've played here with Godsmack, and I got to meet them before the show, which was awesome. And then, get to meet Godsmack as well. And Sully's like this tall. So it's like, hey, what's up? Hi.
He looks like a tiny guy. I think I've seen your picture with you and
yeah, and he's out on the end, and it's like everybody else is just just down. Just bizarre. And then Avenged Sevenfold is up there for number of shows that I've seen. Who else? Another Lost Year. Those guys, hung on with them every time or almost every time that they've been up here playing their shows. So just there's so much music out there. And of course, now that we're getting back into people being able to roam and do things, let's Let's support the music, the all industry, all these bands. Get out and see them wherever they are. If you're nearby or you want to take a trip, let's go see them.
I went to watch a couple local bands, and it's so more intimate now. People are so much more energetic, to get, out of the house. And it's been, I've went to about 3 or 4 already, just small, little concerts. And it's been just the best time ever I've had, and it's just, everybody's so happy, and it's been just really great.
Did you have a chance to see Filter at any of the 2 or 3 times that they came through Bismarck back in the 12 to 14 time frame?
I didn't, sadly. I didn't get to.
It was, you talk about intimate, some of one of the shows was sold out, and then another show, maybe had 100 people because it was supposed to be outside. It rained that day, so it moved inside, but not as many people at that show as what I feel should have been. But just a fantastic concert, and got to hang out with Richard Patrick both days. So chill with him.
A new singer now, right? A new guy.
I think they have a couple new band members, but Richard's still writing and singing for them and doing that thing, and a new album should be coming out probably by end of the year or beginning of 22. So we'll see how that one is. I have that somewhere on I got to turn the camera somewhere on the shelf of the signed discs over there. So we'll see what happens one of these days if he comes back and go hang out. Maybe I'll bring the unpaid photographer and Sherpa as well. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's all right. Now that I have a toddler, don't have as much free time, Kidder, to go and be Sherpa. Besides, I've kind of gotten used to not quite having as many weird people enter my life as when I've been in at those gigs with you. So, yeah. Tate doesn't know this. I have this weird knack for attracting weird people. It's an incredible superpower, and the other thing is I have a little bit of a hearing issue, so in loud spaces, it's just like white noise to me. And so Kidder always liked taking me to shows, watching me run into these people who tried to have a conversation with me that I can't possibly hear, and then he would just walk away and leave me to see just what would happen. So
it's a good social experiment.
Yeah.
The one day, who did you get mistaken for? Was it Silent Bob?
Well, no, that was Sparkle's nickname for me, because one of Kidder's coworkers, I think she was in the sales part of the radio station. The only time I ever interacted with her was at these shows, and because I could hardly hear anything, I just mostly did a Silent Bob, routine with it. So if she asked me, like, oh, hi, how are you doing? I'd just be like, things like that. I think I surprised her when I finally actually did speak, and she goes, "You can talk." I'm like, well, yeah. But we were at a show, and this was at a small venue, and they actually had tables, and we were sitting at a table drinking beer and such, and this guy just sat down at an empty chair next to me, just stared at me, and I can't hear anything, and so I text Kidder just like, "Hey, what's up with this guy?" Because the guy actually turned and talked to Kidder, and then looked back at me, and then talked to him again, and the Kidder goes, "Oh, he's mistaken you from so and so for this band." I'm like, "You have corrected him that I'm not this individual," and all Kidder writes back is, "Maybe." So,
God bless you, Howard.
Yeah, seriously. And since you brought up Sparkles, it's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Sparkles, from the Triple B. From all of us to you, happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Magic
Sparkles.
like that.
Yeah.
The other good one was at, I think it was the Godsmack show, the first one. or not Godsmack. That was later. It was the Rob Zombie, Korn, and the opening band. I can't remember right now. But a guy walked up to me. Get my cat crap! Oh my god, dude! What's up? hey, how's it going? Bro, you gotta sign my jacket. Or you want me to sign your jacket? Yeah, bro. Hell yeah, sign the jacket. I mean, by me signing it, the value of your jacket's probably gonna like, I don't care, man. Sign, you gotta sign my jacket. Sign, just here, take it. And so I'm like, okay. Pull the sleeve and run the old signature across it. And he's like, bro, it's awesome. We gotta take a picture now. All right. So he's like, and I'm like, and maybe if future Howard is generous, he'll dig up that photo on the internet and share it with the signature.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how future Howard feels when it gets to that. Here, I thought you were going to tell the one we had. One of these gigs we showed up, and a lot of times I was the photographer for the gig, so I had my Rock 101 credentials that were completely fake, but nobody knew.
No, they weren't fake because I made them. I made all of them, so they were as real as everybody else.
Yes, right. and God, I forget what the show. I think it was at the Old Town Bar, the one that's off of like way at the far end of Main Street there, Kidder. And we walk in, and I'm just playing with Kidder's camera, trying to get used to it. And so I had it up. I was just checking light and all of that. And some guy thought I had taken a picture, walks over, and hey, you took my. You're going to put it on Facebook, right? Right. I'm going to see it on the Rock 101 page. And I, again, can hardly hear. I think Kidder happened to walk over and, oh yeah, he's going to put it on the Facebook. And Kidder just laughed and walked away. And I had to try to explain to this guy, I didn't actually take a photo. I'm sorry you're so excited about this. So yeah.
We have all kinds of fun. We get into all kinds of things when we're together. I mean, even in this show, we get ourselves into plenty of trouble.
Kidder, did I ever tell you Tabor's concert story at all?
I don't think so.
Well, so back in my past life as a teacher, I worked with an art teacher who was filled with stories, and you never could tell if they were true or not, but he led a very interesting life before he became an art teacher, a high school art teacher. But he had this story. He was at this music festival and was getting hungry, and so he tries to find the food, vendors. And he's going around trying to find it. And he eventually walks into this tent, and they're serving food. So he hops in line, and they grabs a tray and loads up, and he's expecting to pay for it. And there's no register, nothing to, collect money. And he's just like, am I not supposed to be here? So he wanders over to a table, just sits down, just kind of keeps his head down, is just eating as quickly as he can, being like, please nobody notice, please nobody notice, please nobody notice. And eventually there was an announcement, and he wasn't even really paying attention to that, but everybody in this tent stands up and starts to leave. And he's just like, oh crap, I gotta go. This is bad. I don't want to get caught as the person who's not supposed to be here. And so he's following this crowd, and he goes, and they end up on an elevator, and it lifts him up, and he's like, oh man, this is bad. And the elevator door opens, and he's like, oh, I'm on the stage now. I'm just off the side of the stage. And as he's starting to panic, he finally hears the announcer for this festival who's announcing. He's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, the Grateful Dead. And he's like, holy crap, I'm in the elevator with the Grateful Dead. And about that time, the security guard tackled him. drug him out. And he told this story, and it's one of those that you're just like, was he really on stage with the Grateful Dead? Did this really happen, or is this just a really good story? And I, never really asked him that, but yeah, he was filled with stories like that. You're just like, you have led an interesting life. So.
Any crazy stories like that from you?
I it's really crazy. I run into, like, I'm always at places at the right time for some weird reason. I meet like a lot of celebrities just kind of out of nowhere, which is crazy. Like, well, pre-pandemic, like, went to who was it? I went and seen Atreyu and Motionless in White at the Skyway Theater. And then concert was over and went to the there's like a bar restaurant next door. And here then I'm sitting with the bass player having drinks. Just like no big deal. Just kind of, and we're just chit chat about life and and, yeah, I have lots of weird stories like that. Or went to Up Down Arcade and had a few drinks with Brian Dozier, who played for the Minnesota Twins and Los Angeles Dodgers. Just super random. Here's little Tate, just talking with these people.
Just goes to show that a lot of people, even though they have the spotlight status, that they're still regular people and that they're approachable, and you can have a legitimate conversation with them and just chat.
Even
so
when I met William Shatner, is kind of the funniest thing. So I met him at GalaxyCon, and we were taking a picture, like it was our turn to come up and take a professional picture. And he was, sitting in a really high top chair, because he's not a very tall guy. And he looks at me and he's like, wow, that looks like that hurt. I'm not sure if he was talking about the tattoos or the piercings. And we took a picture together and he's like, keep rocking, man. And that's all he said. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I was like, this is super amazing. This guy's a legend, like.
I'm kind of jealous. The year, I mean, even this past year at the con, had an opportunity to purchase photo ops or signatures from William Shatner and a lot of other Star Trek fame. But this year is different because of the pandemic, so they had plexiglass set up, like a giant piece in between. So in the photo, you can even see the thin plexiglass line, and it almost kills the photo, in my opinion. It takes that intimacy out of it. And I get the potential reasoning for it, but it's just kind of sad. You pay $150 to get a picture with William Shatner or anybody else, and you're standing on the side of the plexiglass going,
That's how I went to Twin Cities Con a few weeks ago, and some of them were like that. Some had the plexiglass, and then some of them actually didn't even care. Like, they'd come around the plexiglass and they'd take a picture. Kind of depended on the guest, and stuff like that. Like the guy, I can't remember his name. He does the voice of Mario. He was there, and I didn't get to meet him though because I was meeting other people. But he came around that glass. He didn't care. He had a mask on, but he'd do the woohoo, But he'd come out and he was taking pictures of people. He didn't care, and stuff. So that was kind of, cool. That depends on who it was and whatnot.
Who else did you get to meet at the show, the convention there? And a whole bunch of people, I'm sure, but.
This one, it was the first year, so there wasn't a whole lot of people, but Wendy, she did the voice of Daria, and Quinn on Daria's TV show. It was her first ever con, and I was the first person she ever met at a con, so it was kind of cool. So we got to chat for like 25 minutes, and stuff.
Awesome.
I met what is his name? I forgot. He did played Corey from Boy Meets World.
Okay.
Let's look it up. But yeah, he stood behind the glass, you know. I talked to him a little bit. He talked about, you know, asked me about my tattoos. We just kind of, you know, shot the up for a little bit.
Awesome.
Sometimes it gets awkward because I don't know what to say to him, you know. And I try not to fanboy, and I was like, "Wow, this is, you know."
That's kind of the same lines in the checkout line at the hotel, or in the elevator, or walking to and from where the meeting rooms are at the con. In the years past, you'll walk past, you know, some of, not the like big stars necessarily, but you'll walk past people. John Delancey, for instance, who played Q, Aaron Eisenberg, who is now passed on, but played Nog, the Ferengi. In fact, the gentleman who plays Damar, the Cardassian, was in line behind us a couple years ago to check out Casey Biggs, and, you know, had a short conversation with him, and got to talk to him for a couple minutes again this past year, because he's one of the singers in the Enterprise Blues Band, and they do a Sunday night Rat Pack comedy show. It is hilarious, even though it's pretty much the same show every year. It's just funny to see. I took a leak in the same bathroom as LeVar Burton a couple years ago.
Really?
He and his handlers were in there. Yes, that's my claim to fame. At that con.
Where was that at?
In Las Vegas. The biggest one has been in Las Vegas, and then this year, which would have been in 2020 but was canceled, CBS didn't renew their contract with Creation Entertainment, so it was the 55-year mission. Creation Entertainment presents the celebration of Star Trek, and not Star Trek Las Vegas. So CBS has partnered up with a different convention company, and they're putting on a con, Mission Chicago, I think is what it is, coming up in April. So thought about going to that. So then it's, you know, the official Star Trek convention, but we'll see how the funds go. This show isn't making us, you know, millions of dollars, and so I won't be able to have it paid for me unless we get big in the next couple months. Howard, how can we get there?
I don't know why you're asking me. I haven't gotten us too much further. So.
But damn it, you're in the car, man, and we're all going in the same direction.
I'll take it up with future Howard. I'm sure he'll have a suggestion.
Yeah,
or not.
Sounds good. He's in the future. He's got to know more.
Not that far in the future, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, you get to, you know, rub elbows with them, and if you want, you know, you can get the autographs or take photos with them. I have a photo with Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura on the Star Trek, the original series. So, you know, that was a cool opportunity, especially because she has some mental health issues with the Alzheimer's, and, you know, she's not the youngest person anymore. So there's some of that where she's still going to the conventions as often as she can, but how much longer? Probably not much longer, you know. So getting that opportunity to take a picture with her. And then the base of the Batleth, which is right up here on the shelf, I have the major characters, Klingon characters, sign that base. So Michael Dorn, who played Worf, Robert O'Reilly, who played Chancellor Gowron for the Empire, and then General and later Chancellor Martok, J.G. Hertzler, and Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax, played by Terry Farrell. She also autographed that. And then on the other side of the base, I had Eugene Roddenberry, which is Gene Roddenberry's son, autograph it. He autographed that for me. So that's just a little cool thing sitting up there. But you have any cool autographs or photos or different things like that too from some of your previous conquerings?
I have one. What I met the cast of the Mighty Ducks. It was actually a couple days before, the virus came. They were here doing the whatever year anniversary, and it was up at the Excel Center or the Wild Play. I was like, yeah, I'll go check it out, and fantastic people. It wasn't all of them; it was just a few of them, but they're all just super awesome. And Danny, who also was in what is that? Pete and Pete, if you remember that TV show.
Oh yeah, the Nickelodeon classic.
Yep. He was a very, very interesting person. A cool guy, yeah. So I have like most of the cast sign that. I don't have a whole lot, just a lot of pictures of the people. Some cosplayers. William Shatner did sign a picture too for me, or the one that I have of us, which is awesome.
That is pretty awesome that he would do that.
Yeah.
I had to. I don't know. I had
That's
to.
cool. And he went to space. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Oldest guy from planet Earth to be in space.
What is it? He's
So-
90. I mean, that guy's incredible to be, at that age and that healthy and mindful, like I hope to be like that when I'm his age for sure.
I hope to be like that when I'm 60. Let's be honest here.
Same.
Yeah. At the conventions, he always has an interesting session, and it's never long enough. They usually for each of the sessions they book about 45 to 50 minutes, and his session always goes long, and he tries to have the audience ask questions nearly the entire time. He only takes maybe 5 minutes at the beginning to say, I've been up to this. I shot this movie. I did this. I'm working on this project, and I don't want to waste your time. Let's go to the questions. And then, has people ask him random questions, and sometimes he goes on tangents, but he's still very sharp. Let's put it that way.
I like that show. He does the unexplained.
The unexplained. My only issue with the show is that, yes, this is unexplained. What could it be? What mysteries lie ahead? Well, coming up after this, something similar, but not quite the same. They don't answer anything or give any plausible explanation for it. It's like, this is unexplained, and we told you it's unexplained. And coming up next, something else, plausible, maybe deniable, but unexplained nonetheless.
He was.
What?
I was going through Amazon or Prime Video, and I can't remember. There was like a movie a few years ago with him, and it was like a zombie movie, and it looked crazy, and it was William Shatner in there. I'm like, I've never seen.
Interesting.
I don't know. You've seen it or heard about it, but it was like a zombie type movie.
I didn't see that one, but I'm the age to remember T.J. Hooker. If you remember that TV series from the 80s.
Isn't that crazy that Michael Myers' mask that was him?
Yeah. The producers needed to get a mask for Michael Myers, and here, this mask should be all right. We'll just paint it white. Nobody will know.
What was the story? What was he? He was supposed to film a movie, right, of some sort when they did.
Yep, something silly like that. Yeah.
The story behind the Halloween mask is that it was a very low budget movie, and so their prop guy they just said, you need a mask. We need a mask for our killer. Go find one. And he went to the local store, and the only two masks that he found that he thought were suitable, one was William Shatner, which he picked actually over a Spock mask. because that was another option. But he thought Shatner would work a little bit better. Or he had a clown mask was actually the other one. And he presented the clown mask as the top choice. And then he had the altered William Shatner one, and he altered it purely so that they didn't get sued from William Shatner for using his likeness. And that's the only reason why they changed the hair and the color of the skin. But it was purely we need a mask for this guy. What can we find? So, yeah.
And I think that Shatner didn't know about it until within the past couple of years. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I don't know that it was too common knowledge until Halloween was kind of a big thing.
Just crazy. How about we re-enter the gaming world a little bit, moving from movies, television, sci-fi, whatnot. I talked to Howard before the show a little bit about it, but Tate, have you seen or heard anything on the upcoming Rainbow Six game entitled Extraction?
I haven't seen anything lately, but I've just kind of heard about it, but I didn't see any. Is there trailers out yet and stuff?
Yeah, there's a gameplay trailer, and I think that might be the only one. I happened to watch it just to get the premise of the game. I happened to get an email yesterday or the day before from Ubisoft saying, "Hey, do you want to play the game? You have to sign this non-disclosure agreement, and then we'll give you the code, and you can play the technical test demo." So I was like, "All right." Why not? It was released today, so I haven't played it. So anything that I'm going to say is not part of the game that I'm aware of. It's just in the public information for it. But the website, I threw it in the rundown, and I'm sure because Future Howard is awesome like that he'll put it in the show notes. So if you're really interested, you'll be able to check it out. But basically, their taglines for this are dive into the next mainline Rainbow Six tactical co-op shooter. Whether you go it alone or in a squad of 3, each mission brings intense, thrilling, and unpredictable experiences. Elite Rainbow Six operators join forces to create React. That's Rainbow Exogenous Analysis and Containment Team, a highly specialized organization. And I'm like, settle down with the acronyms, calm down.
Is it what's the theme that they got for
it? It's aliens show up on Earth and they're trying to take over the Earth or something along those lines. From the trailer, that's basically what it looks like. Hibana is captured, and they are, for lack of a better term, in the Star Trek world, assimilating her with the black goo, and the rest of the team is like, "Oh, we gotta go save Ibana because she's getting in trouble," and they're flying out there in their helicopter, and they zip line in, and then they start shooting stuff, and the aliens, whatever the aliens are, I don't know what the name of them, is, or their species, but they're shooting like spikes, and it reminded me of the Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt on Amazon. If you saw that, it really reminded me of that. They're shooting spikes, stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I like those.
But
types. That's kind of my thing,
I like the premise of the movie because, your future comes back and says we need help. Like, that's interesting. This one, as far as I know, there's no time travel in it. It's just aliens invading, and you need to shoot them up and save people or extract it. And I don't know anything about the game yet. Haven't played it at all. So I don't know if it plays like Rainbow Six Siege, their last game that came out, or if it's more like Well, let's see. What were the other one? Wildlands. Ghosts, Wildlands. That was a fun game. Or The Division. That was the other one that I was thinking about. Played a very limited amount of time in those games as well. So it looked like, it looked like it was more of a first person shooter like Siege. So it should be along those lines from what all the public videos are showing. And then on top of that, if you end up buying this game or pre-ordering it, it unlocks characters in Rainbow Six Siege, so you can cross-play the characters between both of those games. So
That's cool.
might be interesting. I'm hoping that I have some time before we started doing this. I set it to download, so then it's going to actually be downloaded onto my Xbox, and we'll go from there and see what it is. But can't stream it, can't talk about it. It's like Fight Club. It doesn't exist.
That's cool that they gave you the invitation, though, to do that.
And I don't know how many invites they sent out, but and of course, by the time this episode airs, the test will be long over because it ends this Sunday for our timeline. Future Howard's already pissed. I can sense it.
It's interesting to me. I mean, I have, most of Tom Clancy's main line of books upstairs on a shelf. I mean, I've read Tom Clancy since I was in middle school. Interesting that the guy who's known for hard military fiction now has aliens involved in this game. Kidder, when you're eventually able to talk about it, it'll be interesting to hear what your thoughts were on this. Because I remember the original Rainbow Six game. I don't know if either of you played that one. But I absolutely loved it because it was the first game where it's like, here's the blueprint, and you can lay out your plan of entry, and you can tell, okay, these AI guys who are on my team, you're gonna storm this door when I give this code, and you're gonna shoot anybody you see. And I enjoyed it. I played the heck out of that Rainbow Six, and it's interesting to see how it has evolved. And now, even Siege, and even though Siege is very much different than that original one, I mean, I've watched a lot of people stream Siege, and it looks fun. But yeah, this whole alien twist, I don't know what to think, Kidder. I don't know what to think on it.
That Rainbow Six game you're talking about was on original Xbox, right? Or was that on a 360?
Oh, the original Rainbow Six is the Nintendo 64.
Okay,
yeah.
that version. Okay, because didn't they remake it for the newer gens a few years ago or something? And not a few years ago. This is 20 years ago now. But just like yesterday.
They might have. I lost track of it after a while because they changed it away from that, and I lost interest in it. Because then it was just your normal shooter. I know they had a run of games that was Rainbow Six Las Vegas that were very popular.
Yeah,
but
that's where I kind of dipped into them, was those ones.
And nothing against them, but it was at that point, it's like, well, this is kind of like every other shooter out there for me. And mostly I've only ever played first-person shooters now. It's like when I play with people and like Kidder and such, as Kidder can tell you, I haven't bought a first-person shooter since I've gotten my Xbox One. I think every first-person shooter game I own for it, Kidder bought for me because he's like, you need to play with us. So
join us. This is the newest, greatest, latest game. Install it. But then I have to uninstall something else. Well, probably the last game that I gave you, because I'm sure we won't be playing that one anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it's as bad as, Kidder and I have joked about this. By the time I get the game updated and ready to go, and I'm finally able to play with you guys because I'm on a much more limited schedule, it's like I'll get in. You guys are like, I'm so sick of this game, and the damn cheaters are. We're moving over to this one. I'm like, but I just got in.
I just install all the updates. There's only like 30 gigs of updates. Like, why? So we'll see how that game is. I don't know. Give it a shot. Something that I'm not really into, as we've discussed, is the board game aspect, or even some of the other smaller indie games, almost for the last forever. I really haven't gotten into any of those. Maybe the last smaller game was Toy Soldiers a long time ago, where it looks like you're playing with the little plastic figures and stuff. I mean, that was a long time ago. But Howard is into Stardew Valley. Tate, have you heard of that? Have you played that?
I haven't played it, but I know what you're talking about. I've watched it just a little bit, and I'm curious. I want to see more of it. It's on Nintendo Switch, right? I believe
It's on PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox. I don't know if it's on PlayStation. I would almost think it is. Yeah, in fact, Kidder, my wife, who is just coming off of working night shifts, so her sleep schedule's screwed up. She actually said to me tonight at dinner, she goes, I know it's podcast night, but I kind of wish it wasn't, because I'd rather sit up and play Stardew. So, she's addicted to it as well. No, it's a great game. I've talked about it on the show before. It's a very chill game with so much, so many things that you can do. I have only played it with her, because there's strict rules that she has made that I'm not allowed to play it without her, and such. So I've only ever played it multiplayer, and I don't know how you would play it first player. There's just so much to do. Like, we divide the tasks in that game. Like, she runs all of the animal stuff, I do all of the crops.
Is it kind of like Animal Crossing in a way?
A little bit. It's a little bit more RPG, but it has a lot of that same thing where it gives you lots of options. You can go mining, you can do foraging, you can be a farmer, there's fishing, you can build stuff, there's cooking, there's just a ton of options, and it gives you enough little quests and things to do along the way. There are events throughout the calendar year, and there's never downtime in that game. There's never a time where you're like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to sit and wait. You're always like, I want to do this and this and this and this. And you get to it, and you're like, I completed only maybe a quarter of the stuff I wanted to do, and the sun's going down, and it's almost midnight, and I got to race back to bed. Otherwise, I'm going to pass out somewhere. It's enjoyable, but yet a very chill game. And the cool thing was, it was done by one guy. The guy's name, he goes by the handle Concerned Ape. And it took him 10 years to make this game. And he worked his day job, and then he would sit at home, and he did all of the programming. He did all of the artwork. He did the music. He did everything. Yeah. And so it's go ahead.
I know, that game is so popular, like going on Twitch, and there's thousands and thousands of people, watching other people. And it's incredible,
Yeah, and as I when I first told Kidder about it, it's like, it's a farming RPG. It does not sound like the most interesting thing, but it's just so chill. And again, the relationships you make, there's all sorts of different ways that you can play it. And there are people who make just fantastic farms that are well laid out. And my wife and I,
there was one back, like Windows 95. Wasn't there a game kind of similar to that? I just remember me and my friends, when we were 10 years old at the time, and something kind of like farming game, kind of like that. I don't know if you guys remember.
Might have been Sim Farm or Sim Farming. I know the Sim City games were popular for a good 20 years. The late 90s on, basically, with Sim City, Sim Town, Sim Copter, the Sims later, but Sim City 2000, Sim.
Oh yeah, I remember playing that on I think it was like a floppy disk.
Yep. You mean the save icon? What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Stardew Valley has been one that my wife and I have played, and I'm also big into board games. And it was a couple months ago they announced that they were going to do a board game version of Stardew Valley, and the game sold out in minutes.
Holy, really?
Yeah, it has that big of a fan base, and it was just gone. So they announced, or at least I saw an announcement like, hey, this week, the second printing is up. There's a few changes, but otherwise it's the same printing. And I was actually able to get one, so I have a copy of the game coming. Yeah. My wife was very thrilled at that. So
you say that, and it could go either way.
No, she
like
really,
thrilled or thrilled.
No, she's very, very excited about it. And then the other big news with it is that Concerned Ape is actually working on his second game, and it is called Haunted Chocolatier. And he hasn't really given away a lot to it. I mean, he's still in the somewhat early stages of it. And I read a blog that he wrote about it, and he said, I'll talk about some things here and there as I feel like it, but I don't want to say anything and promise anything and give you a false impression of what this thing is until I fully wrap my head around it. So, but it sounds like it has something to do with being in a castle and making chocolate and ghosts. So it should be good. And he put up a video of it, and it looks to be about the same art style and all of that. So I'm excited for that one to come out. And such. I have a feeling that my wife's going to make me play that one with her when that comes out. So things to look forward to.
Sounds fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a board game store just down the block from my house, and finally went there after 4 years of living here. And I actually did a little stream inside. They were nice enough to let me stream inside, and fantastic. I mean, like, all kinds of games, like stuff that you're talking about, like Magic, and just, it was fantastic. I just felt so at home, looking at all that stuff and all the action figures. And they've had like even comic books and stuff in there, and like anime stuff. And it was just awesome. Loved it.
Yeah.
The game I kept thinking about is Viva Pinata. Because
What is that?
Rude Boy Kyle made the mistake of, I don't know why he owns the game, but he made the mistake of giving it to me to play for a while. And I played that sumbitch for 12 hours one day. And I'm like, I gotta stop. This is dumb. This is terrible. It's the game. I don't want to compare it to Stardew Valley, because there's a lot of people who like Stardew Valley. I mean, there's a lot of people who like Viva Pinata and all of these spin-offs and add-ons for them. But yeah, that's one thing that I should have left in the past.
That was I remember that, Kidder, because that was back when we were in college and we were roommates at the time, and I think I went off to class and you were playing Viva Pinata, and when I came back you were still playing Viva Pinata, and up until then, like, I knew you mostly as, oh, Halo, Perfect Dark, like, not Viva Pinata.
Damn it, Kyle. Yes. And if Tate, were you a big Halo player as well back in the day?
Oh yeah, original OG. Yep. I actually just a couple months ago, I have Xbox Game Pass on my PC. So they released the Master Chief Collection. So I started running through those because I had heard at the time when they're gonna drop this new Halo game. So I'm like, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna play them remastered. And they look fantastic on remastered. And so I whipped through some of them. I kind of forgot how long some of them were. I'm like, oh, 12 chapters, you know. Here it's like 50, 60 hours, you know. But I'm looking forward to the new one because it's going to be free too on the Game Pass.
Yeah, there you go. I know I pre-ordered it last year when they first announced it and allowed the pre-orders. And I was laughing while you're talking about that because of all of the stories that Howard and I have accumulated involving Halo over the past 20 years almost. So
yeah, that's actually why I'm called Howard. It's because of Halo. And it's back in the original Halo, if you were playing on somebody else's Xbox, if you didn't have an account, Bungie set it up so that it would just assign you a random name that started with H. And I was over at Kidder's birthday. It was a LAN party, and it was a bunch of his friends who had never met me really before. And I got assigned the random name of Howard, and it stuck because it was eventually like, who's this Howard guy that keeps killing us? And it's like, that's me. And so in fact, there were some of them who didn't realize my name wasn't Howard until recently. So so that's how I ended up with Howard, was thanks to Halo. So
now the question is, do you do the Lasso run, Legendary All Skulls on? Or do you play for more of an enjoyment because you don't hate your life?
I do. I usually do like normal, like kind of in between. It depends on. I like to kind of enjoy the game, but if I beat it or something, then I'll go back and I'll play it harder, But the first run, I kind of like to watch, the storyline unfold, and the gameplay kind of mixed together. The first time, but then come back and kind of mess around and see how hard I can get and how wild. How about you guys?
We're masochists like that, yeah. So we'll do the legendary and then throw some skulls on or all of them, and then we get stuck in the library for 8 hours. Okay, it wasn't 8 hours, but I mean it was like 4. So.
We did the library pretty fast. We've had other levels where we got stuck for much longer.
I thought that was the library where the two hunters, or is it right before the library? Because it's the original Halo, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was the room, and I forget which level that was, but I just remember that room. And that was 4 hours in that room. In the first Halo, there's this the level where it's the first time you're up on a Covenant ship, and it starts you in a single room, and you can't leave that room, and guys just keep coming in, and eventually it ends with a couple of invisible elites with swords.
Yeah.
And Kidder and I spent 4 hours in that room. And Kidder is much more determined than I am. I get bored in games, as I think I've said before. And I think it was like 3 a.m. I was done. And so I was goofing around. And Kidder's still trying to beat it. And we got lucky.
The two hunters.
Yeah. And we got lucky, and I ended up running into a door I wasn't supposed to. Some grunts spawned, and I just ran past them into a spot where it was a short hallway, and all of a sudden Kidder died in the main room, and he spawned. He's like, where the hell are we? I'm like, oh, head that way. And so we just left one person in there, and we were able to just slowly defeat the room and get out of it. But yeah, it was 4 hours of that. That was misery.
We took turns, but still.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I just played it recently here in the last couple of months, and I was stuck in there for a long time trying to figure out where in the hell, because there ain't no map, and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I Google this, to watch somebody else? Or is that cheating? But, then...
No, in these days it's not cheating. I mean, back when we did it, we had to go to GameStop or Best Buy and hope that they have the gamer's guide for it for $30. And because we were cheap asses, we didn't buy the thing. We just flipped through and looked quick and tried to remember it by the time we got home.
Exactly.
No, we've had our moments. Oh, there was the skull on the water tower, Kidder. Remember that one with Kyle?
I think that was Halo 3.
Yep.
And that was when, I don't remember the mission names anymore, but you're trying to escape some of the Covenant advances, and they have these big crawlers, like 6-legged crawlers with the giant laser on the front, and it's a giant screw you laser because it one-shots your vehicle or you, and you go sailing across the map and you're dead. And then it's right on the beach, and if you go in the water, you're dead. But you have to keep, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is how I remember it, you have to keep the giant thing alive and then distract it while you are trying to get on this water tank in the center of this beach map, because the skull's right in the middle, and you can't throw a grenade up there and like have it explode and it falls off. You have to get 2 vehicles and stack them and then jump onto the vehicle, and then you should be able to jump onto the top to then get that skull off the top. But again, you can't kill the giant walker, because once you kill that, it spawns the cinematic to go into the next part of the story.
You have about 50% of that right. It's not a walker, it's a tank. So it's only it's only a tank. And you don't have to stack the vehicles, but it's still a tough jump. But the time that we did it, you and I had already beaten the game, beaten it on Legendary. We had collected all the skulls, and our buddy Rude Boy Kyle, who's on the show sometimes, we were helping him collect the skulls. And so we knew from experience, and so we got to that area, and we're like, okay, Kyle, you have a warthog, we have a warthog. You're going to stay right here with the backup warthog so that we have it in case this goes wrong. And the plan was very simple. I would run over and I would stand in front of this tank, and there's a ledge because it was up on a ledge, and you could go below it. You could pop up and it would target you, and you could, so you would hop up and down and it would shoot at you. And then in this case, Kidder would drive the warthog up, get it behind the tower, and make the jump up there. It's still hard to do. And I kid you not, like I'd be sitting there doing it, and all of a sudden I'd look over, and here's Kyle right next to me. He's like, Kyle, you're supposed to be guarding the second. And boom, we'd all die. And then we'd have another time, and it's like, Kyle, just stay here. And I'd be there, and I'd be jumping, and I'd get hit, and then Kidder would get hit. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, we spawned. It's like, okay, Kidder. It's like, okay, Kyle, do you have the second warthog? And I was like, it's like, nope. And he's already driving it out there. It's like, no, Kyle. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like we'll get this one for you. Just wait here 3 minutes if it works. Hold on.
Yeah, I think it took us like 2 hours, but we got it eventually.
We got that damn skull, and he got the achievement.
I heard, I don't know, Mark, if you guys, or Howard, if you guys heard that this new Halo is only going to be multiplayer and no storyline.
I did not hear anything about that. I've seen, a couple very quick pictures, renderings, and the graphics are supposed to be outstanding. But no, I haven't heard anything. What are your sources telling you? Give us the inside scoop.
I actually was it on? It was on Twitch. I can't remember who's stream. I think it was the Xbox Twitch channel. I think that's who it was. They streamed, just kind of like a demo of it, and looked fantastic, And they said it was gonna be like 100 players, like matches can get in there. I was like, whoa! But then they were saying probably not gonna be single player. It's just gonna be, or no storyline, just all multiplayer. But then you hear, oh, well, we might add a storyline that kind of shifts back and forth. But they're kind of trying to do the, Call of Duty, like, Warzone type thing, Because, I mean, that's the most popular thing right now, type of style. But I personally like the storylines,
Yeah, I'm more of a storyline player than the multiplayer, so
Same.
it'll be interesting. Yeah.
I was just looking to see what the most trustworthy internet sources are. Well, you were telling us, and one that's rhymes with encyclopedia claims to say that Halo Infinite includes a number of weapons and vehicles that are normally in the Halo series, such as the Warthog. It features several types of abilities for the player character, Master Chief, like the grapple shot and thruster, with the second part enabling him to pull himself forward or retrieve items. The title's campaign mode features an open world in which players can complete objectives to gain command of forward operating bases, furthering their progression throughout the story. And potentially then, once you, I'm guessing, gain certain levels of items, upgrade the Master Chief's abilities. So, to me, that sounds more like Destiny, where it's open world, but yet it's not.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be different, but it might be cool.
I mean, I really hope it's cool. I mean, they're claiming that it looks fantastic, so there's that. I mean, all the Halos, I still remember Halo 1, and there's a meme floating around the internet, but you remember your first time, and it shows the screen, and you're pointing the pistol up at the ring. I mean, damn it, I remember that on the old original Xbox going way back to 2001 or whenever that was, and our version of surround sound. One speaker in front and one behind us.
When I went back and when I was playing it on the Master Chief Collection on Game Pass, it's cool because you can choose on, like, I was playing it with the controller, but one of the buttons you can play the old classic style, or they do the remastered version. So you could have a choice. And sometimes I'd flip just to see how big the different graphics were, and you're talking about like looking up, and the sound was so much different too. Like you'd walk in, you'd hear the boots like clunk, 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 clunk in the first one. And then the remastered version, it's like much more quieter and stuff. And that's kind of a cool feature how they did that. Just, if you want to see what, this part of the Force looks like from the original, you could just click the button.
I also have that for Xbox, and I have to be honest, I haven't played most of that remastered edition just because somebody else hasn't been available. But I remember just playing maybe the first or second mission of the remastered original Halo and blasting the grunts with the confetti for the headshots. Hey!
Yeah.
And then I was done. I didn't want to play through it Legendary all on my own. I don't know. Run out of patience for that sort of thing. I blame Modern Warfare and all the cheaters.
Yeah, you don't have patience for cheaters. I know that. Fastest reporting fingers in the West. I mean,
And they got offered like Valorant, the game Valorant, and like Apex Legends. They have what is it, Vanguard or something it's called. Like I have it installed on my computer because I play those games, or it runs 24 hours a day, making sure you don't cheat. And Call of Duty they offered them that program for the the cheating system, and they said no. And then what did they try, this new one, and it didn't work because the first day people already got past the system.
I just
I just play a lot of Call of Duty, and I'd get so frustrated because you'd be like getting shot over here, and the aimbot thing was just crazy. I was like, I can't do this.
And sadly, nothing has changed. I mean, I miss the old fun cheating where they would crack the game a little bit and like one kill would get you enough points so then you could prestige. Like, I'm talking way back in like the original Modern Warfare 2, or you jumped and then you would shoot up into the sky and you'd be shooting people from way, a long ways up, but if you landed, you would die. So you had to time your jump right so then you could stay in the air stuff. You remember that, don't you, Howard?
I don't, but I didn't pay attention too much to the cheaters. I just try to survive in those games. I am terrible at first-person shooters. My strategy in those is still, and it is still to this day, take the gun with the biggest magazine and then do the fake reload. So you just position up and then you just and then stop, and they'll pop up because they think you're reloading, and then you shoot them. That's about the only strategy I have, and it only works maybe a quarter of the time. So
it's like real world experience.
But I play games for fun. I don't get that serious into them. So
yeah. Save your time and your energy for something more constructive, like our next Halo Legendary run.
Yeah. Listen, I would do it, but you've been doing your Halo Legendary runs with Kyle. You haven't included me in the last few. So
I wouldn't say. I mean, been doing all of them with Rude Boy Kyle. I mean, it sounds like you're a little jealous.
Oh, listen, this is one of those things. By the time I got Halo 4, you guys were done with the game. I didn't even bother with Halo 5 because I knew it was going to be the same story. So I never bought Halo 5. So
did you get Reach?
I did.
Maybe we'll have to go back and we'll have to play.
That's one of the 3 that you and I have actually done on Legendary. We did Reach. We've done 1, 3, and we did Reach. So.
Didn't we try to do it was with Halo 2, the other one. I'm trying to remember the damn name of it now, and it came with the Master Chief the Master Chef collection. ODST, there it is. Didn't we try to do that for a little bit, and then we got stuck in the city going back and forth, and like, where's the rest of the game?
No, I was in Montana during ODST. So that was you and Kyle again.
Well, I guess we'll just have to correct that wrong in the timeline then, huh?
I've offered it to you in the past and said, hey, we should go back and go through all this. And every time I do that, you're like, no. So...
That doesn't sound like me at all. I don't know who you're suggesting that could have said no, or who you're talking to that looks like me or sounds like me. Clearly wasn't me. I wasn't there at the time. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Okay. I'll maybe be free sometime in the next 18 years.
All right. So by the time the Xbox 1280 is out and all of the servers have gone offline for all of these games, because the 360 servers are now shut down for the Xbox games. Timely news for you there.
Well, Kidder, I wanted to touch base on one more topic.
Yes,
but I'm not going to go too in depth with it because, as you know, we have Howard's Cave of Wonders, my own little series that we do that features gaming and such, and I'm going to do a deep dive into this topic there, and I'm hoping to release that episode tomorrow. So I'll spare you some details, but
like tomorrow or
tomorrow.
When this comes out tomorrow.
When this comes out, it was be like 3 weeks ago. So time travel. It's weird.
Timey wimey wibbly wobbly.
Yeah, but I've been posting a few things on our Facebook about a game that I have been following for a long time that is now on Kickstarter, and that is Monsterpocalypse. Just to give the quick kind of rehash, it is a skirmish game where you play giant kaiju battling it out. It's a game that was originally created by Privateer Press in 2010, and it started as a collectible miniatures game. In 2018, they brought it back as a hobby game, and now they are partnering with Mythic Games out of France to do this Kickstarter and make a board game version of it. As I said, I'm doing a special episode on it because by the time this episode comes out, the Kickstarter will be done because it's a short Kickstarter. But I'd be remiss, Kidder, if I didn't talk about some controversy that is happening with this, because I love these Kickstarter controversies and such. And there's really two that's kind of plaguing this particular Kickstarter. The first, and it's a fairly simple one. There are people who were really big into the first version of this game when it was a collectible miniatures game who are upset that this is basically the game again. So they have all of their figures from the first one and they're like, what do you mean? It's all the same figures. And I just want to use those and such, because the difference is in the original, and I actually do have some of the original figures. They were pre-painted figures, but they are of a different scale than the hobby version. So same monster. This is King Kondo, and as you can see, he is a bit bigger than the old one. So the scales have changed, and because of that, the first edition isn't compatible. So you have a lot of people in the Kickstarter comments like upset that they won't be able to use their first edition stuff and that it's kind of a reprinting. Even though like the new stuff is so much better. I mean, just to show the difference in buildings from kind of that to this, it's a difference. So that's the first one. Is a little bit of grumbling about that. The more interesting one, and this is affecting Mythic a little bit more. Mythic has a bunch of outstanding Kickstarters that they haven't fulfilled yet. And it's because their business plan as they do this is they'll run a Kickstarter, and after that they start working on the game, and it moves through different phases. They have their development team that has to write the rules, they have an art team that has to do the art, then they have to send it to get manufactured, and kind of all these different steps. Well, after the game has moved past a couple of steps, you don't want to pay artists to sit and do nothing. You don't want to pay game developers to sit and do nothing. So then they start a new Kickstarter and they start a new game. And because of that, they have like 6 games out and running. Because I backed this one, the game, but right before this was Rainbow Six Siege. They did the board game version of that. We talked about it on the show. So that's in development. Super Fantasy Brawl is in development. The oldest one is Hell, and it's a storytelling Viking game. And the guys who backed that game have been coming into the Mythic, into this Monsterpocalypse Kickstarter and basically saying, don't get involved with these guys. I'm still waiting on my game. They have all these other games that they haven't done. You shouldn't be doing this. And so there's been a lot of kind of trolling of the audience basically over that. So that's kind of the controversy right now. And Kickstarter has said that they are going to change their policy so that you can't launch a new game until you fulfill another game. I'll kind of believe that when I see it, because there are several companies that use this model. But that's kind of the big one with that. But the Kickstarter is going strong. This week they released their first add-on, which brings my faction, the Empire of Apes, into it, which is why I had the opening line about a giant monkey holding a howitzer, because that is what one of the units is giant monkeys carrying actual like howitzer artillery. It's great. It's fantastic. So anyway, the Kickstarter's up and running. It's going strong. I'm excited. I'm in for quite a bit. I have permission to be in it for quite a bit. Lefty knows I'm excited about it. So I got permission. So
yeah, that makes it better.
Yeah. But if you want to know more, as I said, there was by the time this airs, there's a Howard's Cave of Wonder that came out several weeks ago that'll tell you a lot more about it.
And if you want to find them on at least Facebook, they have liked a couple of our shared posts about this specific Kickstarter and things. So if you check out the posts previously done on them, you can easily find their Facebook pages through that as well.
Yep. And even if you're just hearing about this now in this episode, when their pledge manager does open, they usually keep it open for a bit and you can late pledge. And right now, I think the only real difference that I'm hearing about between pledging during the campaign and pledging during the late pledge is they have an exclusive building that if you pledge during the campaign, you get it for free. If you late pledge for it, you're going to have to pay to get the building. So
that's fair.
That's extremely fair. I can't complain about that, but I'm in. I was in day one, so I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I
know you're big in the Kickstarter pledging of, I mean, mainly this company, but you know your pirate ship, the big one, and all kinds of different things. I'm still waiting for it to be put together and put on a mantle above a fireplace.
It's going to take a while, man. That's 3 feet of pirate ship. I'm going to have some time to put that together and paint it. So
we'll do it after we finish Halo. It should only take, a couple days, 3 maybe.
Yeah. Probably more
without
than
sleeping.
That.
Without sleeping. I am also sporadically involved in the Kickstarter stuff. I found the Star Trek Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, a few years ago. That at the time became the #1 highest grossing Kickstarter on the platform in the history. The team has come back together to make a Voyager documentary about Star Trek Voyager that surpassed the goal by, I want to say, between 1/3 and 50%. So, as in the Deep Space Nine documentary. So now this Voyager documentary has become the highest grossing Kickstarter in the history of the platform. Get a few updates now and again, and my name will be in the credits. So there's that. But, small little victories here and there. So very excited for that one. The What We Left Behind documentary was fantastic. And maybe that's just because Deep Space Nine's my favorite of the Star Trek series. But there's that. So anyway, any little notes that you want to end on with your Kickstarter there, Howie?
As I said, not much. I'm just excited about it. This is a game, and I talk about it in the video that's currently rendering right now as we speak, because
multitasker.
Yeah. This is a game that I have chased for a while because when it came out, I was a poor teacher, starving teacher in Montana. And again, it was a blind collection game. So like you bought a box and you got what you got, which when, you wanted to collect a certain faction, it meant that you had to really work at it or you had to buy from specific sites. And I never got really enough of anything to play the game at that point, just because it took me forever to get it. And by the time I got into it, started going out of print. And then the hobby version came out. And at that time, Lefty was in nursing school. I was living in a different city. So we were paying, rent and a mortgage and, 2 sets of utility bills. So I've never been able to really afford this game, and now I can. And it is cheaper in this board game version. I think they did the math just when they first started, and they compared, since it is compatible with the hobby version. If you were to buy all the stuff that was in the core set currently out of the Privateer Press line, it would cost you about $300 more than the core set in the Kickstarter. So if you are interested in a game where you get to play giant kaiju, battling, destroying a city, all that good stuff, this is a good one to get in on. And the guys who created this game originally, because this is an already existing game, so it's not like Mythic's got to do a lot of development on this. You can tell that they love their kaiju giant monster movies because there are parodies. If you have a favorite, they probably did it. I showed you King Kondo, which is the King Kong parody, but there is the Pterosaurs with Terra Khan, which is your Godzilla parody. Rodan is in there. I've been noticing Tate's shirt this whole time, and I'm like, I think he's gonna like this topic.
Yeah, he was holding it up. You got to say something and show the people. Because who do you have on the shirt? Is it Godzilla? Yeah. Godzilla versus Kong?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And as I said, the newest add-on added my faction, the Empire of Apes, but the other faction that's in that add-on is Uber Corp, and that gives you your mecha versions of the monsters. So yes, there's a Mecha Con and a Mecha Kondo. So you can have, again, even though the names are different, you can have your Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla or your Godzilla versus King Kong, and it's really, really good. So it's a lot of fun. It's a fairly easy game and such. So highly recommend it. Even though I haven't really got to play it, I've watched a lot of people play it. I followed this game now since like 2010. So
wow,
you better believe it. I've been excited, and that's why I've been so excited about this.
I'm gonna step in with your excitement and diminish it just a little bit, because I think somebody that we know is going to say you can't play with those models until you watch Pacific Rim. I'm just gonna say that. I'm stepping in on somebody else's behalf who's not here.
Yeah. That may happen one of these days, someday. I'll take it off this shelf. It'll come down.
Yeah, if you look real closely, Tate, he's got Pacific Rim sitting up on the ledge of shame, because he at one point had multiple copies of the movie and he still hasn't seen it.
Really?
Yeah, not to rehash all of that, but it's one of those, when it came out in theaters, it wasn't a good time for me to go see a movie. I just couldn't make it to it. And it's just become this thing of I just can't ever get around to seeing it. It was on when it was on Stars, and Stars did a free weekend. And I was living with at my father-in-law's. It's after my wife and I moved just right back to North Dakota. We were looking for a house, and it was during the oil boom, and finding housing here was terrible. But we were living in his basement, and so he watched it, and in a very strange thing that he ever does, he actually deleted it after watching it, because usually he will save things in case people want to watch it. So he deleted it off. So I set it to record because I saw that it was on, and it became this weird thing. We were working kind of different hours, and so he would come back and he'd turn on the DVR and was like, well, I thought I deleted this. And so he deleted it again, and I'd re-record it. And that went on for like the entire free weekend, and I missed it. And then I bought it on Black Friday and haven't watched it. And then I had a brother-in-law who gifted it to me for Christmas, and I still haven't watched it. It's become a running thing. I just have not seen this movie, and I should see this movie. It ticks a lot of boxes of things I should love. Guillermo del Toro, giant kaiju. I should love this movie. It's still sitting, on my shelf right there.
I think it was on Netflix or Hulu, one of the two, for quite a long time.
Yeah, and it was one of those where it's like, I think I even had it when it was on Netflix. I think I had it on my list, and it was just, I never had the time to sit down and watch it. Or I was watching with my wife and she wasn't in the mood for it. So it's a movie that has eluded me. So even though I own it.
I see a very cute kitty that you have over there. Who's your kitty there?
This is Sky. She's like 5 months old. She looks really tiny though for 5 months, but she's sweet. She's been kind of running through my legs the entire podcast.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You have a nice little fur baby there to keep your feet warm.
Well, Kidder, I've been having a great time. This has been a lot of fun, but we've been talking for quite a while, so it's about time we wrap this up.
If I could, I'd love to give the honors to Tate to give us some cheap plugs first before we go into our cheaper plugs, if you don't mind. So here's our portion of the show where we completely grovel at people's feet and tell everyone of exactly everywhere we are and all the addresses and services we're part of. So without further ado, take it away, Mr. MidnightRocker101.
You can find me on pretty much everything. Instagram, MidnightRocker101, Twitch 101. Twitter is at Tatibor. YouTube is MidnightRocker101. And TikTok is MidnightRocker101. I think that covers where I'm at. Facebook, it's just, MidnightRocker101 on that page. And then my personal page is Tatibor. So pretty easy. You can Google me. You can find me. Pretty.
You are all over the place. So awesome.
Here and there.
Here and there. And before I get into this long-winded spiel, thank you again for joining us on the show, because we really appreciate getting this lined up. We're happy that the stars aligned and you're able to tolerate the show for a little bit.
Yeah, I had a fantastic time. It's been you guys are super. This has been fantastic, super amazing. You guys do such a good job, and I definitely, hopefully, be back sometime again, or we can maybe have you guys on a stream or something on my channel in the future.
Well, I'm down with that. Howard, you down with that too?
Sure. Why not? This has been fun. Let's keep it going.
That's what we do here on the Triple B. Emphasis on the BS at the end. But yeah, we talk about pretty much anything and everything. So really appreciate that. And yeah, we had a hell of a time too. So a little bit of a cheap plug action. You can also find us, the Beer, Blues, and BS, your good brothers, pretty much anywhere and everywhere as well. Our home in cyberspace is, of course, Beer, Blues, and BS.com. beerbluesbs.com. Forget the and when you're typing in the old web address, beerbluesbs.com. Or if you use the Googles or the Yahoos or the ducking with the goes or whatever, you just search Beer, Blues, and BS, and you know what? You'll find all of us. What are you shaking your head at? What's your preferred method?
Just keep going, man. Just keep going.
Okay. So again, beerbluesbs.com on the web. And from that website, you can find where we are everywhere. We got the podcast audio editions on there, as well as our YouTube feed. So you can watch the video feed of what you're either watching right now or listening to right now. We'd appreciate you checking that out. Our merch store. So if you want to buy a t-shirt or a pint glass or something so you can enjoy the show while you are listening or watching, we love that too. And in fact, we had our first sale on there. Someone bought a pint glass. So thank you, unknown member of the universe, who purchased a Beer Blues BS pint glass. We really appreciate it, and enjoy that wonderful purchase whenever it shows up at your door. So there's also some new designs on the store that you might be interested in, so make sure you check that out. So we are also on Podbean. That gets us all over the place for the audio version. So if you want to listen to us on your favorite service of auditory awesomeness, well, that's all over the place, including, but not limited to, Spotify, your Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts on your iOS service, Google Podcasts on your Android services, plus iHeartRadio on all of them, including on your regular web browser, Pandora. You can also tune in on Stitcher or tune in on TuneIn. IMDb, Player FM, and there's a couple more as well that are out there. So just check us out at beerbluesbs.com for all of that. The biggest thing there too, Facebook. We're on Facebook. Just search Beer Blues and BS, because then you can get the latest updates on the show right there on the old Facebook page. So please give us a thumbs up, and if you want, throw us a review as well. Tell us you love us. If it's okay if you don't, you can tell us that too. But I don't think you would have made it this far in the video if you were thinking that. So either way, we appreciate you for joining us for this edition of Beer, Blues, and BS for a couple of good brothers. Well, I'm the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. He's Howard Blues, and that is the other guy over there that joining the show again, the MidnightRocker101, Mr. Tate Tibor. Thank you again for joining us. We'll catch you on down the road, the old dusty Tuscan highway, as it were. Man, keep your glass at least half full, and remember, free beer tomorrow. Maybe we'll see you again on the next one.
UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain. So I wanted to give you some crap because going through trying to edit that episode, we were talking about the tradition of us singing at weddings. So of course I went out, found the picture from Farva's wedding of us singing, found the picture from my wedding. 497 photos, Kidder, do you have of your wedding? Do you know how many you have of best man speeches? And there were 5 best man speeches. Do you know how many photos there are?
I can neither confirm nor deny any of these allegations, as I was on the stage.
There are no photos of anybody giving you a best man speech. Doesn't exist.
Awesome.
There are 3 in your wedding folder. There are like 3 copies of that stupid photo I hate of with my arm around you, but not a single one of me doing the best man speech.
That's the best photo. What are you talking about?
I hate that photo. Oh, yeah. There's not even, you and I did a Blues Brothers pose photo at your wedding, and I've never seen that either. So, I did find
for the photographers or somebody else.
That was with the photographers.
See, now you got me all riled up, and I'm going to be pissed for the rest of the night.
Yeah. There's a great photo in there, though, of Lefty and I, where neither of us look happy to be at your wedding. I like that one. I have kind of like a look, and she just like, someone's taking a photo. I should see if I can find that one. Albums. Let's find his wedding. 497 photos. There's you guys playing golf. There's us walking in.
There's drunk Howard.
There's that. God, I hate that photo.
Yeah, that is a good one. Like, yeah. There's a camera.
I was going to say, this is pre-junior, but it looks like we're disapproving parents.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, it's very much that. You know what you did. Anyway,
let's see.
I found that one. I enjoyed that. But yeah, there was nothing in the 497 photos, and I looked.
So I'm gonna call you out right now. I need Howard the ref to step in, put the T 2 minutes for bullshitting, because I have a photo in front of me right now of us singing a number on stage.
Hey, you didn't put it on Facebook, so you have the photo.
Are you sure?
I don't.
Are you sure?
Not that I could find, unless you've uploaded it in like the last few seconds.
I should do that just so that you can. Apparently, yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and.
It wasn't on there, was it?
No, apparently none of these wedding photos were actually on there.
Justification right there. So yeah, you might have it, but you never shared it, man. My lights are celebrating.
I guess.
They're like, look at that. Howard's right. Howard's right.
I don't know about right.
No, I'm right. You didn't have that photo up on Facebook.
Your original statement was that you didn't. Weren't any photos. That's
in the four. I know my original statement is in the 497 photos on Facebook. Because I called you out on that. Because that's what I had access to. Hey, future Howard, this would be a spot where yeah, we'll pull the evidence. Yeah,
pull the evidence.
497 photos, Kidder, do you have of your wedding? Do you know how many you have of best man speeches? And there were 5 best man speeches. Do you know how many photos there are? Ah, shit. He was right. I'm never going to hear the end of this.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty.